Hey, good evening, everyone. It is May 7th, July 7th.
July 7th.
I saw the five on 5 o'clock and I was thinking May 5, so it's July 7th, first week of July. It's been a long weekend, long day today. A lot of stuff going on here locally. Of course, I'm Hector, host of Bright Side Pride podcast. This is Angelo, our lovely co-host. And just want to talk a little bit today about the events that took place probably 20, 25 minutes north of us. Of course, I'm sure everyone's heard about the flooding and the just the
Kerrville,
tragedy.
Comfort,
Hmm.
Hunt, Texas.
Yeah, Ingram, all in that area up there.
Yeah.
It's a little
Yeah.
north
It's
of
very,
San Antonio. It is a very prone area to flooding when it does rain. Doesn't rain a lot, but when it does rain, it floods pretty easily. Um, there's been a lot of, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of it as well, but there's been a lot of negativity coming out of this instead of, pulling together and just
yeah.
being humans, like you say, be good humans, right? At the end of every podcast. Um, I kind of want to start it with this. I don't even want to call her a person, but this thing out of
She's a
Houston
soulless ghoul.
that says, and I quote, she's the pediatrician from Houston that says, quote, "May all visitors, children, non-MAGA voters, and pets be safe and dry. Kerr County MAGA voted to gut out FEMA. They deny climate change. May they get what they voted for. Bless their hearts." How anybody, you know, politics aside, I don't care if they are, Democrats, Republicans, if they're Christians, if they're atheists, whatever,
Yeah.
they don't deserve to die, number one. They don't deserve to go through what the two to 3 days of hell up there. Like, I don't get how anybody can can do that or can say words like this, especially a doctor, an educated woman.
She's a pediatrician.
Yeah. And
She's
saying,
been fired, but
yeah,
as she
but
should
still,
be.
I'm glad that Bluefish Pediatrics like took action and canned her.
Yeah.
But how can anybody, especially a doctor, you know,
Well,
wish,
and someone who works with children.
yeah,
I don't get it. Who's do no harm is what they're supposed to, is what their professional part of their professional ethic. How does that help children heal?
and I don't know if it's just something in the water in the Houston area that they're drinking, because there was another,
Another
she was
soulless ghoul.
she was the Houston Food Insecurity board member, and I have a video of this thing.
It's
Um,
disgusting.
going to show this video for those who haven't seen it, and then we'll break it down and talk about it here in a second.
I know I'm probably going to get
It's not playing.
prisons for your family members, and I need y'all to keep that in mind. I know I'm probably going to get canceled for this, but Camp Mystic is a whites only
Okay, I don't
girls
know why it's not
Christian camp.
playing. Okay, so essentially, this lady, I'll work on it right now, but essentially, she says that that camp was racist because they only had white girls on their photos. They only had, she says, and this is a quote as well. "I know I'm going to get canceled for this, but Camp Mystic is a white only girls Christian camp. They don't even have a token Asian. They don't have a token black person. It's an all white only conservative Christian camp." I think her name is Sade Perkins.
Sadie Perkins.
Sadie Perkins. She says, if you ain't white, you ain't right. You ain't getting in, you ain't going. Period.
She also
She
went on to say that
if this were a group of Hispanic girls out
yeah,
there, this would not be getting this type of coverage that they're getting. No one would give a fuck. And all these white people, the parents of these little girls, would be saying things like they need to be deported. They shouldn't have been there in the first place, and yada yada yada. The, this lady is
disgusting.
African American. Um, I don't get it. I don't get how people
Mhm.
can invoke race and push that agenda, that narrative, when 80 plus people are dead, probably close to half of them are children, and this is the message she wants to send out.
Yeah, I guarantee that Coast Guard petty officer rescue swimmer that was involved in, I think, 165 rescues over the whatever time frame there in the flood area. I honestly 100% believe this in my soul. He didn't give a crap. Male, female, white, black, green, red, yellow, Christian, atheist, Muslim, uh, Santa Maria. He didn't care. His job was to save lives, and he did. Of the 800 and some odd people who were evacuated, I don't think anybody gave a rat's backside their race, color, whatever. They were human beings in need of rescue.
I have I've seen quite a few people on X, of course, chiming in with how they would have fixed the problem.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, I look and see where they're from, and I see that they're from the Northeast, the Northwest, nobody in this area. Um, so I did tell one of them, I was like, if you're not from this area and you don't know the lay of the land there, probably should sit this one out, because
Well, yeah.
they've they talk about, um, there should have been more notice, there should have been this, there should have been that. You can do all the shoulda, coulda, wouldas all day long. The fact is, number one, it's not the first time that this area is flooded. It's prone to flooding when it does rain,
Right.
and the reason being, um, a lot of the meteorologists kind of summed it up down here, is that it's essentially just rock bed, so it doesn't saturate. It just doesn't soak into
It
the
just
ground.
runs off.
It runs,
Right.
and essentially this river flows into Canyon Lake. So it hits the ground, hits the and if you have that much rain, 6 to 8 to 12 inches of rain over a 30-minute period, and it's all going to the same riverbed, it's not going to flow quick. It's going to build up. It's not going to have
Right.
a solid even flow downstream. And I think they said, and correct me if I'm wrong, but 25 to 30 feet in a few hours is
No,
how much it.
no. One initially, the initial wave that came through, the reports I read and saw on the news was 28 feet in 30 minutes. Rose 28 feet. The wall of water went from 5 feet to 28 feet in 30 minutes.
At like 2 or 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning,
I
overnight.
think it was 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
A friend of ours was actually up camping up there and received a notification at 3:30 in the morning. She and her family and her roommates, and they said they got this, flood warning or imminent danger, or whatever it was. I
Hmm.
haven't talked to her since, but because Angel checked on her and. She said, "Yeah, we got that warning at like 3:30," and we said, "Okay, let's go." So we packed up and left. And
Yeah.
It's a good thing they did.
Are they from there, or they were just up there?
No, they're from here.
Okay,
They're from
so
here.
and that's kind of my point is people who were probably not from there got that warning and were probably like, "Yeah, we ought to listen to it." But people who are from there who have dealt with this before
Probably went, well,
were most likely like, "Oh, it's same thing happened a couple of years ago, or whatever." You
yeah,
don't take it.
yeah. It's
How
like,
can a warning system force somebody to leave? You know what I mean? I
well,
mean, you
and
can say
it's
what you
just, it's
say,
a,
but
right. It doesn't actually remove somebody. It just says,
right.
hey, you need to get out of here. And then it's up to them to leave. Now, honestly, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, um, everyone's asleep,
Hmm.
you know? And so and I don't know where the disconnect happened. I don't pretend to know. I'll probably never know. But at this point in time, I don't really care. I'm more concerned about the people, the families, who are suffering because of this.
The Of course, a lot of people are blaming the cuts to the National Weather Service, the warning systems, things like that. A lot of even the folks that were up there, a lot of the interviews I've seen said we were warned. The
Yeah,
warnings were sent out. Again, whether they listened to them or not,
right. And the
unfortunately.
and the campers at Camp Mystic, um, they are not allowed to have cell phones. No, and no iPads, no electronics. It's you're there to commune with God and yourself and others and nature, and they don't want. They're not supposed to have distractions, so they didn't have cell phones. I'm sure the counselors, the people running the camp, who unfortunately they passed away.
Hmm.
Um, I'm sure they had opportunity, or I don't know. I don't know. They probably got a warning somehow. The terrain is not. The location of this camp I've not been to, but I've been up in Kerrville, and there are areas. I mean, there's hills, there's mountains.
Hmm.
Well, they call them mountains here, but they're
Texas
hills.
mountains.
Yeah, everywhere. So who knows if a cell phone or cell service came through?
I used to work in Fredericksburg, which is not far from there. And when I would drive out there from when I lived in Austin, I would drive out there. I would, going through the hill country, um, would lose service, sporadically.
Yeah,
And, you know, it, it's just, it's not the time to play the blame game.
no,
It's the time to hopefully still find people alive, but if not,
yeah.
be able to find those bodies to give those families closure.
And once that's done, find out what happened. We can all make the focus what happened, debrief, get to the bottom of what happened and why, and come with preventable measures. Um, but now is not the time. I've
So I have
engaged
another.
with a couple people online about that. They want to, oh look, it's disgusting, and it breaks my heart that there's, and I call them soulless ghouls because that's what they are. They're using this as an opportunity to blame Republicans, blame Texas, blame President Trump, blame whoever. And inevitably, it's horrific. Makes me sick.
The the fact that it became and this says a lot about kind of where we're at as a country right now. The fact that it became so political, like immediately, and I don't know that it would have been any if roles were reversed. I mean, I don't care. I hate the fact that it's a political issue right now.
Would have
Um,
happened no matter who was in the White House.
right. Um,
It's happened
bunch
before.
of,
There were other presidents in the White House, and it happened.
and I was looking for this. Can't find it, but I was looking for. There was a photo going around of. There were many anti-Trump, I guess, um, folks that posted on, or anti-MAGA people who posted on X, about they deserve it, et cetera, et cetera. And they were taking pride in people coming to their page and essentially calling them horrible human beings. You
Yeah,
know, they were happy about that and enjoying the fact that people were giving them that attention. And it's disgusting that people would take pleasure out of the the deaths and the tragedy, specifically the children that were killed there. At camp, you think you're going away for 30 days to
yeah,
meet new people, have fun, get away from the world for a bit, and this happens. And then you have
yeah,
people, as that search and rescue is going on, you have people who are like gloating in that it happened, or just I don't get it. I really don't understand. I'm gonna pull this video up if this one works. I'm not sure why the other one didn't work, but we kind of covered everything that was in that video that
and I'm
nutshell
sure
said.
by now people have seen it. It's been on the news too.
Yeah. Um. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, I don't think this one's going for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on with the stuff on my end. Um,
Let it run. Let's see what happens.
can you see it on your end?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if that's the second one or the initial one.
The video,
The
the
wall of
wave.
water.
Mhm. I can't see it on my end, so
That's
let me know
okay.
if there's a
It's
point
it's
that you
it's
want to.
playing. It's the
Okay.
debris flowing down the river. Uh, water's rising. It's probably about a 30-foot view from the top of the bridge, and then oh
Mhm.
yeah, this is the one. The trees just get knocked down. You know,
So this same river, it's a river that, and not in that area, but it's the same river that my friends and I have gone to float in before.
we were
It's
just talking about doing that too.
yeah, supposed to in 2 weeks. It's insane.
There goes that big tree. It just gets stuck under the water, and I mean that was probably 30 feet from the top of that bridge when the video started to the water, and now the water is and debris is at the top of the bridge, and then there it's flowing over the bridge. And that's just in one area. It's starting over again.
Okay. So yeah, so that's
There was
just.
a report I saw. I guess it was last night. I mean, Angel and I have been glued to the news, along with
Mhm.
everybody else in this area, I imagine. Um, and I can't remember if I saw it last night or this morning. One of the campgrounds that had 32, I think it was, RVs right there at the
Mhm.
river, gone, and downstream or downriver, there's just piles of RVs just crushed. all mangled together.
So I found the photo that I wanted to talk about, and these are just some of the comments from these I I hate to even call them people, but one of them says, "Cry harder, Texas deserves it." It's not awful. Another one says, "It's not awful, it's what Texas deserves." Another says, "I'm kind of happy that the National Weather Service gave incorrect predictions when it came to how much rain would fall, especially since the best and brightest from that organization were let go due to Doge, Elon, and Trump. Texas deserves the flooding." Another one says, "Rutrow, Texas, what you gonna do? There's no FEMA to pick you up by your bootstrap. They gave it all to ICE."
No,
Another
FEMA's
one,
still there.
Texas deserves every flood. God has spoken, and it hates Texas. The people of Texas voted for government services controlled by Donald Trump and Greg Abbott. That is exactly what they're getting. This one says, "Good, I'm glad. Did it take Rogan with it too? I can only hope. Texas deserves it. It's God's will, of course. That's what God would have wanted, right, Republicans? Ha 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 ha. My empathy for these red redneck reject states is zero. So fuck 'em. I hope more come. Let's start the hurricanes." And the last
I,
one says, "Here was Greg Abbott's chance to look intelligent. Instead, he starts by invoking God. God may not exist, and if he does, he sent the flooding. And if there's any place that deserves it, it's hellhole Texas." This is what the
sickens me.
and I I hate to, I mean, as I said earlier, I don't want to interject politics into this or anything right now, but those are literally the worst on the left.
Yeah,
That's, you know, sane Democrats are sending thoughts and prayers and how can I help, you know?
yeah,
But these left-wing nut jobs like this, keyboard warriors, as I like to call them, because they would never come out and tell anybody in the state of Texas in particular, this location, they would never go out there and tell them any of that to their face. I guarantee that. And
yeah,
if that did happen, I guarantee it would be the last thing they ever thought or said.
yeah.
And the fact that I don't understand how any American or even further any human can wish this kind of tragedy on any people. It doesn't
Right.
it doesn't make sense.
It's it disgusts me. And I really am very rarely. You can attest to this, at a loss for words, but that these when I hear these comments and read these comments and hear this vile putridness being spewed by these soulless ghouls, I don't I I I don't know what to do, or I don't know what to say. I just it's horrific that there's so much blackness in someone's life that they say hurt people hurt people. Well, these are really hurting people because God, I just don't know what to do, what to say about it.
There's obviously a lot of donations pouring in, um, whether it's financial or whatnot. There's people giving and I just saw this right now, people giving the Cowboys and the Texans a lot of grief because they announced a combined $1.5 million donation between the two organizations. One person says 500,000. That's it. That's 0.09% of your record $564 million operating income in 2024. Talk about the Cowboys. And they, yeah, I mean, you know,
one of
I don't know
one of our nephews is taking his he's a tree trimmer, and he's taking his trailer, he's loading it up with supplies and his chainsaws and everything, and going up there to volunteer to help and bring supplies. So if anybody out there wants to donate, hit me up, and I'll see if I can get your goods put on the trailer if there's room.
So on that note, I just looked up how to help Texas communities impacted by the flooding. Um, it does ask for folks to sign up to volunteer and not to just self-deploy, just because there's a lot going on. If you would like to volunteer, you can go to the Texas Community Recovery page. It's a division of Texas Emergency Management. You can also call 830-465-4797. They have a volunteer reception set up at 855 Hay Street in Kerrville from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
We'll have
I
all this info at the end of the video, right at the beginning too.
I think we'll put this website up, a link to
We'll put the links
this
up.
site here, so you can go there. There's a lot of different spots on here you can go to whether it's to donate money or to do whatever. I know there's still a flash flood warning in effect for the past like 2 or 3 days. Again, now the ground is where it can soak in is so saturated that it is, it's not going to take much to
We even got rain here today.
flood it.
When Mallory's out there, she's helped. I don't think she deployed up there, but the Kerrville Animals Alive, I think it is, group is working, trying to put people with their animals and animals with their people. So any animal donations as well would be appreciated.
And I think a lot of people also do forget about the animals that are there. I mean, I know there's a lot of human life that is impacted, but there's a lot of animals up in the area as well. So if you are a veterinarian or want to help, we could definitely get you in contact with the right folks for that as well, to help the animals that are up in that area too. It's just a devastating situation. I know a lot of times we come on here and we joke back and forth and we have a good time, but I feel like this was definitely needed to talk about and just outright condemn those nut jobs that are saying what they're saying. And I hate to even give them the time of day to talk about them.
Same.
But it's, they're getting the attention that they wanted. And I hope that they continue to get that negative attention. And,
I hope they'll, whether you believe in karma or whatever, they're earning their bones.
But yeah, we will, we'll get everything at the end of this, as far as links and things like that. We'll get them all put up. Feel free to reach out to us on X
any way you can,
or an email, any way you can. If you want to help, we can definitely point you in the right direction. Again, it hurts a little bit more because it's so close to home, and you don't really think about it when you see it happening in like the Ohio River Valley, or you think about it, but it's not like an impact of, wow, this is like 30 minutes from here. and you see the devastation, and you have that personal connection, like, your friends were
Yeah.
up there camping, and what would have
Well,
happened
even
if they didn't
the
leave.
one of the news people on KBB here, she went attended that camp as a child
Hmm.
and was a counselor afterwards. And when she talks about it, she's in tears when she's talking about it.
And the thing is, it's not going to be the last flood that comes through there.
No,
I know one
it
of
won't.
the forecasters and weathermen on one of the local stations called it the flash flood capital of America, or the world, because it's what it is. It's the way it's set up. But it's going to happen again. Hopefully, people take the warnings and are able to get out. But
It's a
you know,
beautiful, beautiful part of the country too. It's
yeah,
there people live there for a reason, not because there ain't no place I can afford, but it's because it's gorgeous up there.
and it is expensive.
Yeah, it's not
you
cheap.
know. But again, we'll have all any way people can help. We'll put up as much info as we can, and again, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll definitely try to get you in contact with the right people, whether it's donations or volunteering or whatnot.
I was actually just getting a message from Roz, and I think she said she's not even going to produce it. She's going to just take it and put the information on it on this broadcast and publish it,
Okay.
put it out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally fine with that. Just a raw video. Um, I don't have much else to say.
I
Like I
don't
said, I
either.
was just disgusted at some people, but definitely want to do what we can to help. We want to get this video out as soon as possible so we can try to help in any way we can and get whether it's financial assistance or
Nothing
time
else.
or
Pray, positive thoughts. If that's
yeah.
all you can do, then do that. But
So thank you again for your time. You want to wrap it up and tell people what kind of people they need to be?
just I pray for these people. I hope you do too. And if you don't, I hope you send them all your positive thoughts and be good humans.